Are you a Republican? Are you a Democrat? Are you independent? And I really want you to define this term, a compassionate disruptor. What is a compassionate disruptor?
A compassionate disruptor? Can you believe that? Well, yeah, you know, we might use a fire hose or two to stop the civil rights movement, but that's better than a bullet and a gun, right? I mean, what's a couple of little sprays with water at the end of the day? Compassionate.
Wait a second. After that opening?
Yeah.
I'm out of here.
That's the campaign?
Yeah. I'm moving on. Yeah, that was the scariest thing I've ever heard. Yeah.
Well, it's all true.
It is true. It absolutely is true. First of all, I got a gift.
Oh, thank you. What is it?
I know.
love gifts.
We're into the face mask thing out here in California, so I thought I would get you one.
Hannity supports Caitlyn. He's not allowed to. He's on the news. Okay.
Recalled Gavin Newsom.
By the way, I support the recall.
Yeah.
Let me be very clear.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing when you think about it. I just have such respect for athletes. You know, you didn't win the gold in '72. You came back in '76, and you won the gold. A great Olympian, a great champion. And you really, I always say politics is a blood sport.
It is.
And a part of me say, what the hell are you thinking? This is hard.
It was not an easy decision. It took an awfully long time. I've always been involved in politics.
She's basically a more prominent Blair White. That's what Caitlyn Jenner is, you know? Like she's just an awful person just throughout. But she, instead of just being like, you know, outwardly damaging and like a trans medicalist and stuff like that, is also a billionaire. And an incredible classist, as was evident in this interview. Like she's going to be an absolute disaster.
For the LGBT community, I used to go back. But in 1973, I graduated from college in Iowa. I packed up my 63 VW Bug and drove across the country, everything I owned in the back seat. And I was coming to California, the Golden State. I went to San Jose. Why? Because San Jose was where all the great athletes lived. I had met him in my first Olympics in 1972. And me as a decathlete, I wanted to learn from all these other great athletes. In fact, in 1976, we placed 5th as a nation. I come from a long line of fighters. My grandfather was in World War I, was in the dead pile. Somebody was walking by and heard a moan, and they said, oh my God, somebody's alive in here, and pulled him out, and he wound up going on and living a very good life.
Dead pile, I mean, they thought that he was dead.
He thought he was dead. Yeah, he had the tag on his foot and everything. But went on to live a good life. My father, when he was 19, in fact, Omaha Beach.
And are you a Republican or Democrat? You know.
What I see in Gavin Newsom is a politician up to special interests, makes his decision as a politician in special interests, and the hypocrisy that is going on right now. It's like there's one set of rules for Sacramento, and there's another set of rules for everybody else. I mean, you've seen the video of him at the French Laundry, okay? I can't go down to my restaurant, and all the employees in that restaurant down there are not working, okay? And he's up there dining. We see Nancy Pelosi. I can't go to my hair salon. All the salons in my town are closed. Nobody can go in there. Nobody's working. People are losing money. But she can sneak in. And it's the hypocrisy of what's going on. Yes, it is a dynasty, I guess you could say, in Sacramento. They've really been in charge for the last 40 years. I mean, we had Reagan come in a little bit, Arnold come in a little bit as Republicans, but it's been a dynasty. And as we see what happens here, and in the recall, everybody was behind the recall. They needed 1.5 million votes. They got 2.1. But of course, the Democrats had to verify every signature. Mm-hmm. Isn't it shocking?
It doesn't shock me.
And eventually they had wound up after
Wait, is that like a subtle little Donald Trump, like the election was stolen nod? Like, if so, wow, yikes.
Disallowed like 500,000 of them, and they had 1.6. So the recall is on. But I'm really fighting against the hypocrisy that's going on there. He's been bad on every issue. He's bad on taxes. Obviously, the most tax state in the nation. He's been horrible for business. Obviously, companies are leaving left and right. 18,000 companies have left California. My friends are leaving California. Actually, we're at my hangar. The guy across right over from me, he was packing up his hangar. I said, where are you going? And he says, I'm moving to Sedona, Arizona. I can't take it here anymore. I can't walk down the streets and see the homeless. I don't want to leave. Okay, either I stay and fight or I get out of here.
Let's describe, you can answer the specifics.
The goddamn homeless. Everywhere, ruining the city. How dare they? They destroyed it. They destroyed it. Like, the other wild thing is, like, places like Cali or major cities like Vancouver, yeah, there's been a huge exodus from Vancouver. The way that this entire system has been stacked up, once everything basically fell apart under the pandemic, and we saw how we've actually stratified our entire society based on class, right? We've got the poorest people who are dying happen to be Black Americans, Indigenous Americans, Latin Americans. They were the majority of frontline workers, for example. They're the ones who are going to be dying. Also, businesses closing left and right. No question. Absolute tragedy that is happening. To reflect upon all that and look at it and then be like, well, this is because of lockdowns. That's the reason why. Nothing else. Nothing else. It has nothing to say about our entire capitalist system. But this is the lockdowns that is doing this. But now look how this whole area is riddled with the poors. The goddamn homeless. That's the reason people are leaving. You know, they can't stand it. It's weird. It's weird. Poverty levels increasing, homelessness rising. Like, shame on them. That's a you problem. What the fuck?
Are you a Republican? Are you a Democrat? Are you independent? And I really want you to define this term, a compassionate disruptor. What is a compassionate disruptor?
A compassionate disruptor? Can you believe that? Well, yeah, you know, we might use a fire hose or two to stop the civil rights movement, but that's better than a bullet and a gun, right? I mean, what's a couple of little sprays with water at the end of the day? Compassionate.
Played around with that term. And originally I started out as a compassionate disruptor. And then I was thinking the other day, I think I'm more of a thoughtful disruptor. I have common sense. Okay, I see what's going on and I see no common sense in politics and why they're doing it, besides only for political reasons. And I have always been on the Republican side just because I have conservative economic values. The old saying, lower taxes, less regulations, a more friendly business environment. And we don't have that in California. But socially, I've been much more progressive all my life. I get it. People do need help. We need programs. But you cannot have social programs without an economy. Doesn't happen. You just don't have the finances to do it. And that's what's happening here in California. And so it's been so frustrating for me. I don't care. Honestly, I like everybody. I'm friends with everybody.
I don't like everybody. There are people I don't like in life. But
I can get along with anybody, Sean. I can get along. So honestly, I don't really care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, a Libertarian, vegetarian. It doesn't make any difference to me. I want solutions.
I think the plane was in the video recording, right?
You just don't have the finances to do it. And that's what's happening here in California.
I was like, oh, that's interesting. You don't normally hear that on like Fox News. That one wasn't me.
We're able to come up with great solutions. I am behind that 100%. Solutions to bring this state back and to give the power of this state back to the people and not to special interests in Gavin Newsom.
Now let's get...
Like, every single person who says that, what it means is the rich. Like, we want to give more power back to the rich, which already have the power. I don't understand.
Get to specifics.
Uh-oh.
No, uh-oh.
Let's go. Hit me with it.
California is a sanctuary state.
Yes.
You have sanctuary cities. Would you eliminate sanctuary status for the state of California?
I would keep it a sanctuary state for small businesses.
Meaning?
Meaning that I want small businesses to come into this state. I want people to create wealthier. I want them to employ people. Yeah, but as far as immigration, no, I am not on that. We need to spend some money to have a fair and equitable immigration system in this state.
Gavin Newsom, for the record, he's given $500 checks to illegal immigrants.
Yes.
Guaranteeing health care for illegal immigrants.
Right.
He's guaranteeing education for illegal immigrants. It's a big issue. What would you do different? For example, if you could, would you continue building the border wall?
I am all for the wall. I would secure the wall. We can't have a state. We can't have a country without a secure wall. You have two questions here. One is stopping people from coming in illegally into the state. And then the second question is, what do we do with the people that are here? We are a compassionate country. Okay, we are a compassionate state. Some help. I mean, some people we're going to send back. Okay, no question about that. But I have met some of the greatest immigrants into our country.
She's so bad. She's so much worse than I imagined. Like, when I first heard this announced, I was like, well, a prominent member of the trans community on some level. Still, it has to be better than just like a hardcore Republican in its essence, right? Like, there has to be at least a little bit of a difference there. Someone who's at least a member of a marginalized community and understands what that struggle can be like. Psych, right? We were talking about how Psych is making a comeback. Like, yeah, Psych is back, everyone.
I had a guy the other day, and he was Spanish, and I've known him for 17 years. And I said, you know what, come over here.
Not.
What is your status? And he said, I've been in this country 17 years. This is a gentleman. I mean, this is the greatest guy. I want him to be a U.S. citizen, okay? He's an asset to this state and to this country. But he's been trying for 17 years to get citizenship. He says, I'm hoping.
Did he come in illegally, or did he stay over?
I think it was on a visa.
On a visa.
Yeah, and stayed.
Yeah, she is very Lucille Bluth energy. It does go to show you, like, someone who is so rich and privileged has such a different lived experience than basically the overwhelming majority of people who happen to be trans, right? I think that's also why she happens to be like a trans medicalist, someone who's like a biological essentialist. You have to view being trans as nothing other than dysphoria that needs to be cured through surgery and enhancements and whatever it takes. You know, basically that's what it all comes down to. But yeah, Lucille Bluth all around. But like, it sucks because Lucille Bluth as a character is hilarious, but that's not someone you ever want to be in charge. You know, you never want someone to be governing you, especially not a state like California, like whose economy alone is like what, the 6th largest economy in the world or something.
He's been there, but he's lost 2 jobs because he didn't have legal status.
Pure
he finally
privilege.
got this other job where I met him, and he is the nicest, greatest guy. He would make. I mean, I would do everything for him to stay here, and so you have to deal with it. We have to modernize. We have not modernized our immigration system in the United States to make it possible to people to immigrate into
Let
this
me ask the
country.
question,
It's such a ridiculous
would you
problem.
allow the state to work with ICE and enforce the laws? In other words, people get out of jail. They are supposed to be deported. Would you eliminate all of the sanctuary status that currently exists in the state?
I would do my absolute best to do that. It's not going to be easy, but I
Stay
would
right
do
there.
my absolute best. I am for securing the state. I am pro law enforcement. I'm pro border protection. Okay, ICE, pro ICE. We need these people.
Wow. That's extra cringe. Even people these days who are like pro border and stuff don't use the phrase pro ICE. Like, ICE is pretty universally accepted as a fucking super shitty organization. Like, across the board, like the public perception of ICE is like, it's pretty fucking low. Right? Most people are like, well, yeah, ICE goes way too far. Like, ICE just destroys lives. They're like a net evil for the planet. Man, she sucks. She sucks so much.
People, and they do a wonderful job.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News.
God, I knew she was bad. I didn't know she was that bad. That's really fucking bad. I'm 100% behind our police force. Okay, just a little bit more.
A whopping 113%. And Gavin Newsom is going to release 76,000 additional inmates for good behavior. 63,000 of them committed violent crimes. Would you do that?
Not at all. I think on
like, so goddamn privileged, so rich, you know? No, fuck them. I'm not a single one of them. I want every single one of those inmates to rot in jail until the end of their lives. Keep them away from me. Can we lock up the homeless? Am I allowed to do that? I can't wait to do that. Are they ever such an eyesore? Me and my rich friends, we hate like going around in our limos and having to look out the window and then see, you know, the poors on the street and stuff like that. So yeah, if I can, I would like to lock every single one of them up.
the releasing of the prisoners, criminal justice reform is very important, and we need to do that. Okay, we need to rehabilitate people in prison and bring them back into the community safely.
That's the problem too, is that U.S. it's not based on rehabilitation. It's not it's punishment. That's the idea. Same thing with Canada. Like, same thing with a lot of the Western democracies. They are often obsessed with punishing people for crimes, punishing people rather than rehabilitating them. You know, it's not as if you go into prison and then you come out just like a better person. Like, oh, I've realized the error of my ways, and thanks to that, thanks to basically the vocational school that was prison, I am in no way, shape, or form in any way more angry or aggressive, or I've now addicted to drugs. You know, any of these things. I'm rehabilitated. Thank you. Thanks, state. Good old state.
In this case, I don't know how many of these people have actually been rehabilitated to go back into society. And so I am 100% behind our police force. Every place I go. If I see a cop, if I'm driving and I see a cop, I'll put my hand out the window and give them a thumbs up. If they're sitting there, I'll pull up and say, hey, thank you for your service. You know, this citizen appreciates what you do.
Cool. So basically just doing full on like Trump shit, you know, like that was basically the same thing, you know, very super pro cop, go ICE. I want to increase the police budget. Well, what is all this defund?
I 100% support our police forces. As far as I would be very tough on rioting, using as many forces as I could possibly use to stop the rioting, protect the citizens and the business.
Like basically you'd be electing a Karen. That's it. You're effectively electing a Karen to government. Like one who's not only going to call the police any single time that she sees like, you know, a black guy in her sidewalk or something like that. She's now going to have the power to be able to expand police control. You're basically, yeah, it's going to be Governor Karen.
Businesses of this community. I think that's extremely important. The National Guard, whatever we need to keep peace.
What is the police reform then that you want?
The only police reform I think we need, look, in every business out there, there's good people and there's bad people, probably shouldn't be there. No matter if you're a journalist, okay, no matter what the business is.
The mob and the go ahead.
Yeah, no matter what it is, you're going to get good and bad. I think proper training, being able to weed out the good with the bad. I have a very good friend of mine who was in the sheriff's departments for years, and we talk a lot about this issue. And
people have been asking for police reform for like nearly as long as the police have existed. It's like it's not happening. Like the reform is not coming. You know, there's been so many different programs, so much oversight, even things like, hey, what if we add a camera to every police officer? Because then the bad ones won't do bad things because they know they'll be filmed. So it'll prevent the bad ones from doing bad things. Nope, they still do them. They do them, and now we see it. We watch it afterwards, and still after, it's like after the fact, everyone's like, well, that's fucking horrifying. But like, yeah, but don't worry, qualified immunity. Hey, come on. We're not going to actually face any consequences for this.
And I was talking with him the other day about it, and he said, you know what the sad part is? The sheriff's department's training center is like almost empty. Nobody wants to be a cop anymore.
Do you blame them after
I
all
cannot
the
blame them. I do not blame them. But
Awesome.
From Sacramento, that has to change.
Probably not true.
This is important.
But
How do you change that? In other words, like for example, I would suggest more training, and
Oh, yeah.
you know, I would look for more non-lethal options. I think would be a good idea, but defunding, dismantling. My question to people: who are you going to call?
I totally agree.
yeah, I mean, it all comes down to Ghostbusters. Everybody, that's always been the problem. You know, like checkmate libs, checkmate left. Yeah, you goddamn leftos. Yeah, Ghostbusters. Got
It's
him.
just a stupid idea. Again, no common sense in Sacramento. Gavin Newsom, no common sense to release prisoners into the community and then say they're going to defund the police. I support the police 100%. I support the National Guard. I support our business owners in Los Angeles and around the country, and would do everything I can to protect them.
We have other issues. For example, Gavin Newsom talks about.
I don't understand how, if you're not someone who's basically a rich elitist, how do you listen to any of this and think like, good, oh wow, a massive expansion of state power to oversee me? Well, that's what I'm looking for. That's what I've been waiting for. Please, Caitlyn, help me out.
Hey, do you like movies? Do you like Serfs? Do you want movies and Serfs watching the movies? So then come over to the new channels. It's the Serfs cinema. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Can you do the thing, you know, that thumbs up and comment and all those things that help us out in the algorithm that controls every aspect of our lives? Also, if you happen to have a Facebook account, can you delete it? Like just delete it. You should probably delete your Facebook account because it's not a great company. But hey, if you can't do that for whatever reason, I understand. And could you also go to facebook.com/thesurftimes then and give us a little like and a follow. We're just trying to push back against the fact that people like Ben Shapiro happen to dominate the platform entirely. And when everyone asks why do older generations believe the things they believe, one of the problems is the majority of them on social media use Facebook. So to counter that, we're just going to be on there too now. Also, if you happen to have a union or a worker co-op or even a leftist project, podcast, website, Zoom, MySpace, it doesn't matter. We will advertise it for free on this channel. All you got to do is go to weareserfs.com and use the forms that we got there, weareserfs.com. Thanks, everybody.
To our gods, I'm Raft and Xander Corvus. We shall build golden idols in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker. Our soft, spongy flesh is yours to command. To our lords, Evan Nudie, Trevor R., Alexander Thaler, Ryan Lubin, Bisexual Black Gamer, Toe Fox, and Jeffrey Lamb, we proudly carry your sigils onto the battlefield. And to our Knights of the Round Table, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multi Mondi, Timothy Hart, Trevor Janis, Lemmy 101, Anthropophagic, Saren 42, Chronic to Hemphog, Callie Kotka, The Great Pudini, Von Janney, Catherine, Radical Maniac, Ramon Acosta, Encosin, J. Fraser Cartwright, Jimmy Bignuts, Violent Orchard, Sophie Baby, Political Puppy, Andreas Chiringuito, Zach Christensen, Nicholas Marks, Jopi, Josh Mickelson, Melissa Murphy, Todd Buckingham, Todd Lajeunesse, and Constance Joyce Lacheris. We tip our cap and lift our mug and salute you.